Thank you. Get your boy Big Wall. And you already know the vibes when you see the big dog next to me, Pstock. You know what we here to do. We here to address the culture, right, Pete?
Right, it's going down tonight. It's dressing the culture, classic, instant classic. But yeah, another great show. It's great. You know how it go every time we do these shows. We're getting together like a mini family reunion.
Man, come on, man.
That goes down. And hanging out. That's addressing the culture.
Yeah.
Culture needed. It's that time. So we gonna talk about
it. Yeah, we're gonna talk about it. And speaking of talking about it, what's been going on with you, man? It's a whole lot going on in the culture, Pete. You know what I'm saying? But I really want to know what's going on with you and just what you got going on with you, brother.
Man, there's so many projects in the radar on the desk right now.
We working
on the desk right now. There's so many projects, documentaries, and and even narratives and animation projects. It's like it's crazy. It's like, man, it's like can't breathe. Walls closing in. But I love it. Anything that's creating, that we can, address the culture by creating. So I like to do take that and create something that we can address the culture with, a useful tool to carry on, for generation and generation. So,
digital footprint, as you like to say. You know what I mean?
Digital footprint.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We need that, So, and that's what we're doing. So we try to keep evolving, keep it exciting, bring exciting stories. Man, I be seeing you and DJ Corrupt lighting it up on Wednesday nights and the Culture Connection on Tuesday nights. You and Carrie, it's going down. The culture's on. There's plenty to talk about. So there's always something you got to tap in, subscribe. Check Roku out. And we working on it too. You heard it first. It's going down. The iHipHopTV Roku channel is in the works.
Coming.
So it's coming real soon this summer. So it's going to be on and popping. We're going to make it happen and bring it on. We're going to be able to catch the culture gang, address the culture. A little bit of everything culture prescribed right there for you. And the music, of course.
That's the foundation of everything that we do. You know what I'm saying? The hip hop, the lifestyle, and that's why when we tap into this series with the martial artists and FMA and just every aspect of it, it resonates with what we do. You know what I mean?
Right. That's right.
We work hard. We hustle. We're marketing, producing so many shows, so many radio shows, where we allow different artists to come here. And if they want to work, we give them a platform to tell their stories. And not just artists, anybody. You know what I mean?
Anybody.
And that's the same hustle that we apply to the martial arts series, the FMA series. And today is no different. You know what I mean? We got another grandmaster, you know what I mean, that's going to come through and bless us with his story, man. There's some brothers out here that put in work too. You know what I mean? Yeah. Shouts out to Salton. You know what I mean? They've been putting in work for so long, doing their thing, and they have a story too. You know what I mean? And we definitely want to address the culture and bring these guys on to tell their story and add to it. You know what I mean? Of course, we got T-Bone with us. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And gonna give us the full understanding of the levels of talent and the stories that we bring into the culture. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. And you hit it, and that's what and that's why I love it, and that's the whole thing, because what we are trying to do and what Big Wall said is give a voice to the voiceless. So we address the culture on it. And then the Serrada Escrima is historic. And we just like to make sure that everybody gets that look. Everybody meets the real people, know it's real, hear the real stories, the real camaraderie, everything that went into it with the training, the sweat, the blood, the tears. So it's great. And hip hop martial arts is married.
Man, come on, man.
And that's what it is, man. When I was in the Philippines, like we used to call it the PI. We was in the PI. We was down in the PI, man. There was so many hip hop clubs. You know, they had their rock clubs.
Yeah.
They had some dynamite hip hop clubs, man.
Yeah.
So it's off the chain. And the Filipino culture with music, man, they could do music just like whatever we do, they can do it too. You know, so
Man,
it's big.
It's all the grind though, you know what I mean? And that's why like we really wanted to dig into this series with T-Bone. Well, we try to tackle every aspect of it because it's the hustle, right? It's the grind, right? It's the more you put into your craft, the better off you will be. You know what I mean? It's giving power to the people who feel like they can't protect themselves or defend themselves. The same as hip hop. It gives voice to the voiceless. It tells stories from different parts of the country. So that's why it intertwines in such an amazing way. And I respond to it, you know what I'm saying? Like we're protective of the hip hop culture just as much as they're protective of their artistry, their knowledge, their wisdom, you know what I mean? And they're willing to pass it on. That's why shouts out to T-Bone with the Legacy series.
That's
you know what I mean? Where he's
Legacy 9.
And come on, man, where he got people coming from all over the world coming together to display their arts, their healing. It's even branched off to other forms of legacies around the world, across the country.
Claudio Morelli got his legacy in Europe going down.
Talk about it. And see, that's what I'm talking about, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love that energy, man. It's just super dope. You know what I'm saying? So what we're going to do, man, we're going to take us a quick break. You know what I'm saying? We're going to go pay us some bills, man, and we're going to spin a block. We're going to bring T-Bone on so he can talk to us a little bit more about who we got today and just, you know, everything going on with the whole culture. Y'all know the vibes, man. It's your boy Big Wall here with Pstock. We'll be right back after these breaks.
T-Bone.
What's going on in
the house? Pstock on Big Wall Capone. Yeah. Today, very special day. We got the 12th master under the late Grandmaster Angel Cabales, Master Jerry Preciado, coming on board the show. You know, what y'all got to understand, it was June 28th, 1991, you know, after the late Grandmaster Angel Cabales passed away. It was Master Jerry that gave me a phone call that said, "Hey, Darren," I said, "What's up, dude? Let's open up a day at Gone Lee's, man." I said, "Man, that sounds pretty good, you know?" I said, "Let's do it." Rest is history, bro. Rest is history. And, you know, when you come from that academy, you know, we all built a brotherhood, a camaraderie, and you missed it. Once your GM's gone, we all missed it. You know, it is a part of everybody's life. It's what we did, you know, whether it was practice, honing our skills, demonstrations, and stashing, you know, or fair, you know, seminars and do. You know, we were there. You know, we were very young men at that time too. You know, very young men. But you know, that's some of the funnest times of your life, being a soldier under somebody like the late Grandmaster Angel Cabales. The kind of energy that man had was huge. That was just huge. And when you look at the kind of students that were attracted to the late Grandmaster Angel Cabales, you had a lot of warriors right there, people with past martial arts experience, but we all seen something in him, you know, and he bring it to a level that we didn't know. Even though we had so much experience in other arts, that man showed you something, man, that it hooked you, you know. So, hey, this art is so fast, so lethal, you know, and to have the honor to train under him And then the camaraderie we built amongst each other as Angel students, the pride we took, doing what we did, representing our GM Angel, it was a huge part of all of our lives. But yes, we got Master Jerry Preciado, the 12th Master under the late Grandmaster Angel Cabales, and he's also co-founder of Angel Disciple Stockton. This is over 31 years ago, man. And, sometimes work takes us away. It could be a swing shift job or what have you, but Master Jerry, he was always there to support everything we did. He showed up to the tournaments, arbitrate, judge, referee. We just do our thing, man. So, brother for life right here. Master Jerry Preciado, brother for life. But also understand this. Brother Sultan Uddin and Master Jerry Preciado, they were training partners, demo partners, and yeah, man, these cats, they got down. They got down back in the day, man. So, it's a beautiful show right now, full of memories, And after Angel died, Angel's Disciples, all we did was compete in tournaments at that time, other than train our fighters to be successful. And we went hunting where all the best fighters are, and we wanted to test our student skills against all the best out there. So, you grow as you get older, but back in the day, bro, it was all about bringing the best fighters we had against the best available fighters out there in the circuit. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes that don't carry well over good. Sometimes people can hate you for being successful. And we didn't care, man. We just wanted to prove so I could scream how lethal it was in the full contact setting. And so, the good thing about it is, as you see time go by, a lot of the competitive schools, we became good friends, if not brothers. And they even come on board the Legacy series. Some of them have been on the Legacy series since day one. So, where you once only looked at competitive, we also did build some camaraderie, And I think that comes with age, getting older, and looking at things in a different perspective. Instead of just being Serrada, we opened up a platform for all Filipino martial arts. And I believe that was one of the most significant things that Angel's Disciples could do, to create a platform for all FMA. And that way we could all stand side by side like brothers and represent honoring the Grand Masters of FMA. So, looking back 30 plus years ago, young soldiers, and then looking at things today, times have changed in that perspective, but I don't regret the beginning, because that's pretty much what made it.
I mean, that's how you get to where you are. You got to start from somewhere. Yeah. But speaking of you not regretting the change of the past, I love that. And the more and more I learn about Angel, I'm more and more impressed how he looked beyond color, right? You know what I mean? Because I'm pretty sure during his time, it was frowned upon. You know what I mean? To teach certain people or give knowledge and understanding to certain people based off of their color, their race, their status. You know what I'm saying? Man, woman. It was so many different fractions. And what I'm learning about Angel, he didn't allow that to dictate who he gave the knowledge to and the wisdom. Why do you think that was so important for him to be so willing to give everybody the knowledge who was willing to learn?
Looking at Master Jerry Preciado, what a lot of people don't realize is he grew up since a little kid with the late Grandmaster Angel Cabales' son, Johnny Cabales. You got to understand, Master Jerry Preciado's brother Billy married Angel's daughter. Okay, and Angel's oldest son married his sister Jackie. So you talk about, yeah, the family was together and understand who Master Jerry Preciado is. And I think from the outside looking in, I don't think too many people know about that.
Yeah.
How close he was with the late Grandmaster Angel Cabales. He was like a nephew of his, right?
Absolutely.
Best friend with his son Johnny.
Family all the way.
Yeah.
You know, and another thing, guys, Master Jerry Preciado, what you got to understand is he trained with the late Johnny Cabales as young as like probably the 5th, 6th grade. He'd go to the camps, the asparagus camps. Angel would teach them moves. And of course, kids are mischief, you know, they run off, might get in trouble and shit. But, you know, a lot of people don't know that Master Jerry was a training partner with John Cabales, you know, who out there in the world really knows that story. So, you know, bringing Master Jerry on today, well, they're going to learn something, you know, about his life, his connection to the late Grandmaster Angel Cabales and to the kids of the late Grandmaster Angel Cabales. You know, I understand Linda recently passed away. Johnny passed away a couple of years ago. That's very sad. But, you know, also understand that there's a lot of the masters of Serrada Escrima that grew up in Angel's neighborhood when they were kids. And, you know, Brother Sultanuddin, he grew up probably 3-4 blocks, you know, east of this area. You know, they call Columbus Park. They call it the neighborhood, right? But there's several students that became masters that grew up in that neighborhood, including Jerry Preciado, Gabriel Asuncion. You know, they grew up around Angel and Angel's family, Angel's kids. You know, who knows that history? Not many people know that history.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's an honor to have the co-founder of the organization we still run today on board the show today. It's very sentimental for me. And what we put together 31 years ago is still rocking, it's still moving. And now we got the legacy. And now we're on this show with you two, you know. iHipHopTV. Big shout out to Audi 19.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. This one's sentimental, guys.
It is. And it's something that we was actually looking forward to because we want to tell this story in every color, right? You know what I mean? Because it's so much deeper than what the eyes see. You know what I'm saying? And I just love that. And we're going to continue that legacy.
You know, one thing I found out, you know, how famous the late Grandmaster Angel Cabales as a man. You know, he passed away 31 years ago. Okay, look where his art's at today. It's worldwide. There's people practicing Serrada Escrima worldwide. But the thing is there's only so many masters. Okay, but through time, a lot of guys that may have gotten their advanced diplomas, today some of them are calling themselves Supreme Grandmasters with an advanced degree. Yeah. There's some cats out there that are stating that the advanced training and master's training were no difference, but the master's is just a political statement that Angel would give us. Bullshit. That's bullshit.
Address the culture then, T-Bone.
Yeah. Well, you know, hey, when I trained all them private lessons for over a year and a half just on my master's, bro, the training curriculum completely flipped. Okay, bro, I couldn't even knock on doors.
Yeah,
you know, my hands got beat up. You know, and everything was live speed. So when I see somebody bragging how his advance is equivalent to a master, you know, that's really insulting to the master. Very insulting. You know, it's like trying to compare a brown belt to a 3rd, 4th degree black belt, my opinion. But then when you look at time, the 31 years that us masters had in teaching students, it even made us better. Okay, and we made the art ours. So, you know, looking at some of these cats making up, you know, their own history, that their advance is equivalent to a master's, I have to disagree with that. And I think it's bullshit. If anything, these are cats trying to elevate their degree up with the master's level without doing none of the work. And it's a sad fact that there's people out there that are like that. They don't want to earn it. They just want to get it, right? Well, you know, that's the sad thing about, I guess, a lot of arts. And talking to some of the cats on the show, you know, they've expressed that opinion too. But I tell you what, you know, if a dude in advance, way back 30 years ago, I mean, some of these cats are pushing 70, in their prime, they couldn't touch some of our basic 1 through 12 students. They couldn't even touch some of our basic 1 through 6 students. Knowing what they were back then and knowing how we developed our fighters, okay, our students, we took great pride in that. And there's one thing that we take pride in, moving up in rank. Our guys earn it. They earn it, okay? But to create a name when you were just a very, very mediocre person 31 years ago and now elevate yourself to Grand Poobah status, you know, some of us look around, man, and say, wow.
Yeah. No, I get it.
You know?
Yeah.
You look back 31 years ago, they ain't no better than what they were 31 years ago. That movie works.
They're still on train.
Yeah.
You know, like you look the same way you did 31 years ago, but you're old now, and you're still terrible.
Talk about it. Okay. Shots fired.
Oh,
Shots fired. There it is.
You
Bang,
know,
bang.
some of these cats, man, they got their self-grandeur, right? They build themselves up so much that they start making up histories. And I think that's the funniest thing, you know.
And that dilutes it, you know what I'm saying? And man, and we get it. But you know what? All that is finna cease because we got Grandmaster Jerry, you know what I'm saying? And he finna tell us everything, and he gonna give us to it in a raw. You know what I'm talking about?
Cat's coming out the bag now. It's
man,
at ground zero.
It's an honor to have Brother Jerry on this show. It really is, you know. I love the guy like a brother. You know, Jerry's one of those kind of guys. I don't care if you have a tree fall down, a fence fall down. Jerry had everything to jump on board and help you out with anything and everything. You know what I mean? He's just a great guy, you know, and a very giving guy. You know, always wanting to give, you know, and give from his heart. You know, I don't care if it was a fishing pole. So, hey, man, I'm going to go deep sea fishing, brother. Hey, man, I got some real good tools for that. Really. Yeah, here you go, man. Go ahead, use these. You know, that's Jerry. Always been Jerry.
Well, look, you know, we ain't going to take no more time. You know what I'm saying? We're going to take us a quick pause for the calls. We're going to be right back with Grandmaster Jerry. Right, B?
Yeah. Right, we back.
Hello, Culture. It's your girl, LP, aka London Perez. And I want you guys to tune in every Thursday at 7 p.m. Are you tuned in with the culture? As soul, come holler at your girl, London Perez. Every Thursday at 7 p.m. I would love to share your story with the world right here on Address the Culture.
For many people, sports participation gives the individual the opportunity to showcase athletic ability with the thrill of competition. The martial arts has given millions of people a platform to learn discipline and embrace the culture where the art originates from. Fusing the art and sport produces the modern martial athlete. Wika Sport is the platform to give the age-old form of combat of club and swords and put them in the hands of today's martial athletes in a safe and competitive space for kids and adults. This is Wika Sport. Wika sport is born out of the centuries-old indigenous arts of the Philippines, Eskrima, Kali, and Arnis. These combative arts are weapons-based, usually using rattan sticks and long and short blade tools. The martial athlete who wields these are fast, with categories of point and continuous weapon sparring to display the athlete's speed, timing, accuracy, and power versus an opponent. There are also creative forms categories to demonstrate beauty and expression as an individual or team. This is only the beginning of Wika. The World Eskrima Kali Arnis Sports is here to unify the different styles of Filipino martial arts as the action philosophy of movement to exhibit the unique and complex culture of the Philippines globally. Wika Sports is here.
Dress the culture, I'm address the culture, we gon' talk about it. Come address the culture, we gon' talk about it. Come address the culture, we gon' talk about it. Come address the culture, we gon' talk about it. Come and address the culture, huh?
What's going on? What's going on?
Jerry Preciado, man. It's great and an honor to have you on the show.
Welcome to the show, brother.
All right.
So we understand you the keeper of what really happened.
Yeah. I think the stuff that I have would actually disappoint a lot of people. And it's because back then, going way back, sixth grade. Sixth grade, I think, was when I was actually introduced into Eskrima. I had Angel came over to my mom's house and did a demonstration in the front room, on the living room, and we had hardwood floors back then, you know, and we didn't have no carpet, nothing. But he got down and he hit the sticks were hitting the floor and making sounds. It was almost like a dance, you know, and he was moving around and boy, it was really interesting. And so he came and he said, my mom said, well, you know, what do you charge to train like that so he could do that? And he said, for you, he says, nothing. He said, just come and train. So I was thinking, okay, you know, that's all right, you know, but not knowing what I was really getting into, it was going to be a different lifestyle altogether. Later on, as time went, Johnny, Angel's son, he would come up to my grammar school, and Johnny was pretty tough. But Johnny would tell me, hey, he says, see that kid over there? And I'd say, yeah. He says, go over there and hit that kid. And so I'd go over there and smack the kid upside the head, and I'd get in trouble, and Johnny'd laugh, and next day he'd be back to the fence again. See that kid over there? Go hit that kid. You know? So I was happy to be able to get to junior high school, but pretty soon as time went. Yeah, like Darren mentioned, I think I have a really close ties because Linda, and which is Angel's daughter, was married to my brother, and they had one daughter. And so it became more family. So I was kind of really tight with the family side of it because it was my niece. And then as time went, Vincent actually married my sister, and he had two more kids. I had little Vincent and Vinny through him. So I had another nephew and a niece through that. So it was tied to the family. You know, we would actually go over to Angel's house, and he lived at what they call a place called Turks. It was a bar down below, and it was upstairs. And I ran with Johnny pretty much over there. And like I was telling people back then, the sticks weren't really short. To me, they weren't short. I was small, but the sticks weren't that short because he had those sticks in a old military duffel bag where they put all your clothes in when you go to the military and you come home.
Yeah.
And the sticks would be at the top of that duffel bag. So I don't know how tall that duffel bag is, but that's how long those sticks were. Wow. And they were probably pretty close to an inch in diameter, maybe a little inch and a 16th or quarter so in diameter. And that's what was the training stick. And so we would get these sticks out and play with them and hit them together to see if we can break stuff. And, we'd get in trouble because we'd be in the house and, 2 kids in the house tearing up stuff. And Johnny was older, so he was kind of more like the leader. And so it went quite a ways. We, with Vincent, Vincent would take me riding and deliver newspapers. So we can actually go fishing afterwards and stuff. So like I said, it was really tight family ties with everything. Once, like I said, training with Angel, Darren's mentioned that, I trained with Johnny out at the camps. Angel would run the asparagus camps, and he'd pick me and him up, and we'd go out there and we start training, and he'd tell us, go outside in the back and train while they go out there and cut asparagus. Well, we trained about 1 or 2 hours out there in the middle of the sun, and then we would sneak off and go out to the river and go fishing and come back, and we'd get in trouble behind some oddball stuff that I can pretty much say now. We'd block the shower door off and then use all the hot water up, so we call it a steam room. And then when all the Manones got out of work from the fields, all they had was cold water to take showers. So so we get in trouble,
I think the statutes of limitations are up on that. I think
yeah, you can let it out.
We eat up all the food. They'd have donuts on the table. They'd been there probably about 3 or 4 weeks, so they'd be hard. We'd get those, roll them around the table and throw them across the room. And, I think I first time experiencing Bogong was in the camps, and he'd say, just eat it like that with a spoon. Well, I learned what that was. So, like I say, we were doing good until, back then, they bring the women in to date the old workers and stuff, and Johnny would say, "Hey, look," and he picked me up over the little walls for the little portable walls they'd have built, and I'd look over there and I'd see him, Johnny, they're peeking, and he'd laugh, and pretty soon we'd end up at home because the Angel was saying, he kicked us out of there. We didn't get to stay too long after that, So. But I ended up being a checker for them. They were picking, I think it was apricots, and he told me, he said, when they bring a bucket, you just stamp the little card. So I was doing that, and it was a busload of kids from Oakland, and so they would rush me, and they'd only maybe have about 5 apricots in a bucket, and tell me they dumped the whole bucket and wanted me to stamp that little card for them. So I told Angel, I said, man, they only had like a little bit in there, and they all came over towards Angel, and Angel, after about 5 or 10 minutes, they decided that they'll come back with a bunch of buckets full instead.
Okay.
They went and got their own.
Yeah, they did. That's dope. We talk about getting your own, you know what I mean? And just learning up of the Angel. Can you give me the top 3 principles and things that you took from Angel that you just carried throughout your life?
With Angel?
Yeah.
Angel. What's training with Angel? Actually, I got to back up a little bit, and to cover the story portion of this is that we trained with Angel. I was there was a demonstration that was being done at the Filipino Center, and I was watching the demonstration, and I knew Angel, and I said I knew him because he was kind of family and stuff, and a lot of guys didn't know that. But Sultan, he come up and he said, "Hey man," he says, "you should learn how to do a Escrima." And I kind of giggled about it. He says, "Yeah, we practice 2 days a week at the at the center there on the Harding Way." And I said, "Okay, I'll come by there." Well, I don't think he knew I knew Angel like I knew him, and so that was actually what started me off training again was him, because I wasn't really into doing a lot of training. I went into Kung Fu, I did karate, I did things like that that put me towards the Filipino martial art where it had a weapon involved. The other ones were just mostly a self-defense type thing. It was learning stances and, things like that. So with Angel, golly, there's so many stories to cover Angel from his driving to the stuff that we got from him. His training was phenomenal. There's not, he was good at teaching, but I don't think he was as good at marketing, because a lot of the people that he was teaching, he was more concerned about them stealing his art. And that was his concern, of them stealing his art, for not doing nothing for him and teaching wrong outside of his style that he had taught everybody. He would call, like I said, talk about spaghetti, but there's a lot of people that you see what they're doing now, and I kind of laugh about it, even though I'm not going to put names, but they might do the initial block and then it turns to spaghetti from there on. It's because it hasn't, they call it, they're calling it true serrata, or they're calling it something. But I've never in my life, all this time, seen as many schools that popped up saying serrata. I sometimes I want to pay a visit to those schools just to pretend that I don't know what I'm doing, just to see if how well they teach. They could teach me.
Teach me who's teaching. Who's teaching at these schools? Are these people that ripped off? Maybe had like Darren talked about, and James Bennett talked about that a while ago, about school that they might have had one or two lessons, and trying to sell themselves as a black belt or a master, and start teaching something that goes. Do you know any of these people in these schools that's popping up?
And I think a lot of it too, because there was seminars done at different places, and you had students show up, and if a student was there and had enough knowledge to take something back, he took that back and then try to present it to somebody he's training, and then it became a move under his style. But the true serrata side of it, Stockton itself had some pretty good banging people in there. Everybody in Stockton was training hard. We trained to defend outsiders. It wasn't the fact that we were friends, but anybody that came from the outside, we want to make sure, let them know that what we trained, and you weren't going to be able to walk in that door and think you kind of got over on us. That wasn't going to happen.
Tribal.
So we accepted a lot of people coming in because they were coming in under Angel, but a student trained the student. I'll say it that way. You learn from Angel, but as you learn from Angel, Angel would have you train that student. So really that student learned from another student, except for the group of people that when they went through your master's training, that was a one-on-one with Angel. So if you came to that class and you were at number 4 or you're number 5 and you started off with another student, and Angel might have just seen you or watched you training, but most of your training was from the student you were training with. Until you got to your master's training, then you went to Angel's house and you started training under his master's training. And I was telling Darren, I said, man, he would. I would drink hot soda and dry potato chips because that's all. So so you knew you were trained. If you said that you went on Angel's, you had potato chips and soda, they knew you were trained at Angel's house.
And look, and see, when we just talk about just the training, and just everything, because we didn't talk about this with Darren. The way you guys came up training, and the way they compare it to now, they would say child abuse, or get people involved, like they're hurting these kids. You know what I mean? Can you kind of talk about the training regimen and what you guys had to go to? You too, Darren. You know what I mean? To get to where you guys are now, just exactly what you had to go through.
Show us them knuckles.
I tell you the first time, I'm holding my hands up like this. I'm like, yeah, they got more. we trained. I mean, I'm looking at my fingers. I'm like, damn, they look pretty old, you know. But we trained hard. I mean, we got hit. I used to say, well, you know, if you train hard enough, certain moves, if you didn't block it right, you got hit. I've hit people. I've been hit before. You know, you had people instructing you say, no, you're not doing it hard enough. Do it harder. And the harder you do it, it gets a little bit out of control, and you end up hitting the person you're working out with. And it wasn't the fact that I think I've been hit more times teaching someone than actually learning my own self. It's because you're giving them the benefit of doubt that they're going to be able to control that weapon coming around, and they would actually hit you sometimes. So, you know, but if you did the block wrong, you got your hand hit. So you're right. It would be like a child abuse because you'd get to that point. Like I said, I'd go up there and use my elbow or your foot to knock on the door.
Use your knee, right? Use your knee. Use your knee to it. Now, I know the history, you know, especially with Stockton being ground zero for Serrada. I know there's some perpetrators out there. You was touching on that, and I know there's some lying going on. Somebody's telling some lies, right? And you wonder who's lying. Yeah, I mean, like I know you see some people come up that just get their butts whooped, you know, for talking out of line like that.
Well, you know, here's one thing I could say, you know, and add to is there's people out there.
Address the culture, T-Bone. You know what I mean?
People out there that the majority of the training was more photo bombing than training. They never stepped in the academy to go up against the crew.
Yeah.
They just want to photo bomb and film, okay, and then train off of what they filmed. But they never went to the big house to train amongst all the Angel students.
Yeah.
And all these years later, you know, I even see a guy, and let's call him the Barge, okay? I'll call him the Barge. The Barge wannabe.
Which one, Chico?
You know,
say his name. Say his name, T-Bone.
When you look at the late Grandmaster Angel Cabales, and you look at how early that he was issuing master's diplomas, okay, it goes back to his first ones were like in the 70s, 76. There's a dude out there that's claiming if it wasn't for him, Angel would never be recognized as a Grandmaster. But when you read the certificates the late Grandmaster Angel Cabales issued, it says Panganon, the Supreme Master. Now, is Grandmaster and Supreme Master that different that somebody would think by labeling GM that's all credit to me? That's bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay, I look at that as bullshit. So evidently, maybe this guy ain't even looking at his advanced degree to see what Angel's title is versus his title, is what I'm saying. But it just goes to show you when you have a man like the late Grandmaster Angel Cabales, his reputation, his whole life, there's people that try to capitalize it in ways to elevate themselves than anything other than elevating the art itself. People want to attach to the art just to elevate. But are they really doing something good?
Show you his impact on the culture. Because how long has he passed? What, 31 years?
31 years. Yeah.
And people are still gravitating to what he brought to the culture just to get some light on their names.
They're trying to call it other stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's even some guys out there, you know, me, the time I spent with Master Jerry, Master Sultan Dean, a couple of the other masters, Master Gabe Asuncion, Master Frank Royanis. For me, the time with them was sacred. It was like a sacred ground. Because if we went to any events and we're all together, we paired up with each other in demonstrations. Yeah. You know, like brother Jerry Preciado and Udine. They were training partners, they were demo partners, and I paired up with other guys too. That was a sacred time. And then you got 31 years later, guys that did minimal training But photobomb, they love photobombing. They really never got down with who was in the crew. Okay, but 31 years later, they act like they went through that bullshit. They didn't go through that.
Yeah, they didn't
go through that kind of thing.
Right.
Talk that shit, T-Ball.
Yeah, this is address the culture.
Look, that's what we
Address the
gotta
culture.
do. We don't want no smoke, but we ain't ducking none neither. That's what
That's
we
right.
do. You know what I mean? So
Right.
address the culture.
You know,
Facts are facts.
You know, I don't mean to be this way, but a lot of these cats are puffing up, acting like they was all that. But even the late Grandmaster Angel Cabales toward his other students there would open up and tell us how he felt about these guys. You know what I mean? And you know, it's funny. It really is. You know? I don't like really bringing up the past. When me and Jerry, Master Jerry, opened up in '91. I like to look at that history till today because you know I put our heart and soul into that, and I like to look at it in that perspective. But you know, when you look at a lot of the demonstrations, that Master Jerry had filmed and a lot of these demonstrations, you're going to see certain people. But, you know, going back to, like, from what I understand, 81 to 83, there's cats out there pushing hard that never came back after 81 or 83. They either owed money to Angel, they never finished their training, or something like that popped up. But the old man would let a lot of us know about these certain individuals, you know. That guy who owed me $750. I'm gonna try to get him to fix my Ventura. Well, when Angel died, that Ventura got towed away and never got fixed.
Wow.
But yet the dude that was supposed to fix it, you know, he's super can't get right today. The biggest mouth out there, right? And sometimes the biggest mouths out there, they're the worst in character.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm saying this because I've been watching it for years.
Yeah.
And I see how they try to position themselves. And I think it's disgusting, to be honest with you. And some of these cats I challenge. Hey, full contact, hard impact, helmet only. Let's do this. It's because I knew what a rotten piece of shit he was, but how he tries to express himself today, it's a joke. And talking with, you know, brothers like Udine and Master Preciado, because we knew where they were and where they weren't, especially up to the old man's death. So, you know, the people I came up with in that time, that's the people I honor. I always honor them. But the photobombing dudes that really weren't serious about their training or never got better from 30 years ago, them cats, I feel for them. I really do. But my heart can't reach them, okay? Because ain't nothing come for free, bro. You got to work for it. You got to earn it.
Yeah.
And there's too many people trying to capitalize on the art in that perspective. Yeah, there's some good guys out there. Yeah, there is. But there's some rotten people out there, too. So, you know, it's trying to differentiate the good, the bad, and how much the art has changed. Okay, and that's one of the reasons why I did my video series. You know, I created that standard for my students, my chapters, my organization, so they'd have a reference. But a lot of these cats out there, man, they're doing stuff that I know for a fact Angel never taught. Never taught. It goes against its principles. And they act like they're all that. You could just watch them and you can see it. So, you know, I'm just glad. First of all, I'm still alive. You know, I'm getting up in age, and I could talk about it to other masters that I still talk to.
And create the legacy the
Master
right
Jerry
way.
one of those guys.
Make that legacy go.
Jerry, being the 12th, because it was under my understanding that Angel, he wanted 12 grandmasters, right?
Yes.
And some says maybe a little bit more. So you being a 12th, can we kind of talk about that? Are you the last? And also, how do you feel about what Darren said about people, you know, not adding to the legacy in the right way? how Angel wanted it. Just your viewpoint on the whole, the culture of things.
Well, before we get to the 12th Master, what Darren said is a lot of it's true. The school was originally, I'm going to go back a little bit. When we opened the school up, it was the owner of Mr. Lee, Gong Lee. He would ask me, I'd go there and I'd eat, but I didn't work for him. I worked on his house, the hall. I worked on a couple places for him. And his thing was he seen me at the restaurant and he said, hey, he says, I don't see you at the hall anymore. Because after Angel passed away, I started training with helping Vincent out to train students from there. Me and him kind of bumped heads a little bit. I finally walked away and left over a certain kind of move that he was trying to show me that was wrong. But I tried to tell him I can show him a video footage of his dad doing it that way. And his theory was, well, my dad was copying Jimmy Tacosa, and that's why he did it that way. And my thoughts were, your dad never copied anybody. So he didn't really understand that the way he was trying to tell me was based on a different number. So you had different numbers for different moves. So when it came down to the training side of it, like I said, a lot of the guys didn't train or didn't learn all of it because they were gone. When we opened that school up, Mr. Lee offered that school to me on a Sunday. When I contacted Darren, that school was going to be open up to all his previous masters and instructors and whoever wanted to come and train. They wouldn't have had to pay anything because the price that we were getting I was getting that hall for was really nothing. It was unbelievable price of how low it was that anybody could have trained there, and that's what it was. Well, we did have some students, former students, show up, but there were masters, and they just kind of faded away. So looking at number 12, I was happy to be number 12 because that's what I was requesting from Angel, because I've been around it for so long. I said, well, I don't want a diploma earlier. I want number 12 since it was going to be the last other diplomas. Yeah. And so right as that came up, Angel had gotten sick, and he would still come to the class, and we were kind of running the class while he was sick. He needed the money. And so I think it went to 17, but those after the 12 weren't training nowhere near the amount of time that we had been there to get to that, just for that number 12.
Right.
There's no way.
They got the abbreviated crash course at that time.
Right.
So do you think that's kind of how the disconnect came in with after the 12, 13 up to the 17, where the disconnect and people start trying to add different training methods and different stuff because Angel was no longer around to kind of dictate and let people know what was true and what was false? Do you think that was like the beginning of the disconnect when we talk about the teaching and the methods?
I think when it got to the 12, when Angel started putting out those last of the diplomas, there was no way they could have the training that they had. The last portion prior to Angel, before he was sick, he actually came in and introduced us to two more styles of the Serrada system that he had. And his speech was, I don't need it anymore. I don't need these styles anymore, so I'm going to show you guys. He used them to protect himself against his students. If you had any student that went on try to get over on him, he had more styles that he had to offer. So when the prior students that came through the school never seen that style of art, so they think it's they don't know. They just don't. They never been around. They weren't around for that last couple of years of being around Angel. They were gone. They never returned back. And I don't have a problem with saying names, but like Wade Williams, he trained when I was there. He got his master's degree. He called Stockton Record up, and they came and took pictures of him, and he was happy he got his master's degree. And I think from there he never came back.
Wow.
Frank,
is he still in Stockton?
I think he is. I haven't. I could look at a video footage of him and watch him training. I have video footage of almost every person that trained for the whole time I was there. I have video footage of every one of those members training in the classroom with Angel there. And it's funny is I could actually play it back and watch the guy training that is saying that he's the grand poobah now, and you're looking at his training, and there's no way that he could.
And who was that?
Yeah, who was that?
you just said you don't mind saying names. You know what I'm saying?
I'd say I have video footage of every master that came through Angel, except the first maybe 6. But the masters that during that time period, I do have video footage. I have footage. I even have it of Darren. I have it of Carlito. I have it of Wade. I have it of Frank, Tuta. I have all this video footage of all these guys training, and you can see the difference in the progress and the training methods that everybody took, compared to the ones that trained and then disappeared and never came back. There's no way that.
I have a question, a Stockton question regarding the training. Wasn't Anasanto, ain't he from Stockton too? He lived in Stockton as well and trained. So how did that dynamic work with Serrada Escrima, and then you had Anasanto in Stockton as well?
I think when you get into that, the difference is we were straight Serrada Escrima under the late Grandmaster Angel Cabales. When you look at a Sifu Dan and a Santo, he accumulated vast amounts of arts and made it his. Okay. So, in watching him, you could probably pick up the Serrada Escrima he's doing, but a lot of the other stuff in Kali, it might look slightly different. Okay. Because he's the kind of guy that he hit every top Escrima Grandmaster that came here from the Philippines, and he hosted them and got extensive training with them. So, in watching Sifu Dan, through time, you've seen a little bit of Serrada at what he does, but a lot of the other stuff wasn't really recognizable to a guy like me. He really took off in a different system,
different direction. Because Sifu Dan, he's the one that introduced nunchucks to Bruce Lee, right?
Yes. Yeah. So you see, he really got into so many different martial arts throughout his time and accessibility to so many different people. As for me, I stayed straight Serrada Escrima. Okay, straight Serrada Escrima. But my influences from boxing and Goju-Ryu, you can see some of that in there too. Whether it's the breathing, the power distribution, what have you. There's certain things you train that you never forget. And going through the motions of Serrada, you can see a lot of similarities in my Goju-Ryu training, especially in the hand-on-hand. And the training.
Very similar. Because it's very important, because I know we touched on it before. Where did Angel get his Serrada from?
Angel got his knowledge from Felicissimo Dizon. Right. Sudlun Sabu, and understand that Angel left in 1939. A lot of people got the age discrepancy mixed up in how old Angel actually was. Some say he's 17. Some say, he was even younger than that. But by the time he got to America, it is documented that he was already 22, 23 years old. So, just in past books and articles, a lot of people got a lot of times mixed up, But
knowing he left, the Second World War started, correct?
Yes. Yes, he got out just in time, from what I understand. But just as the Japanese are starting to move in.
Didn't his teachers fight against the Japanese and everything?
Yes.
From the other, they fought against the Japanese.
Yes. The group of Dizon, I was told they were like the Verdugos. They were assassins in protecting the people, fighting against the Japanese. They trained at very religious, cultish areas like the caves of Sudlun. And then you got Brother Claudio Morelli, he trained in San Miguel, Escrima Dats, out of the church setting. And that's where that art was developed or hidden for the Jesuit priests to look after the people or protect the churches. So, looking at Angel's knowledge from Felicissimo Dizon, but at the same time, there's only one Serrada guy that ever went back to the Philippines to demonstrate in front of the Society of Grand Masters, and that's Brother Sultanuddin. And in doing so, he's got a lot of this, all videotape, recorded, and very clear, of some of the greatest now deceased icons in the Philippines. So, to bring Serrada Escrima back, demonstrated, broken down into the number formation, the drill formats. A lot of these old grandmasters said, Dizon. So, in demonstrating what the late Grandmaster Angel Cabales taught Brother Sultanuddin, it was recognized by Dizon. Late Grandmaster Angel was known, the guy who challenged Villasin, Captain Villasin. And that's what they told Brother Sultanuddin, how they remembered Angel as a young guy, challenging one of the Balintawak guys to a match. That match never happened. Angel left. He ended up in America at that time. So, rich history on Felicissimo Dizon, who was more known as an elder amongst a lot of these foremost Escrimadores that are now deceased. But Brother Sultanuddin, he's got this recorded. So, the whole connection from Angel to Dizon, it is apparent and it is well known, even from the Society of Grand Masters, that Dizon only trained Angel Cabales, nobody else.
That's the only person.
And there's a lot of people, they're trying to say, Dizon trained Laguna, Dizon trained here. Well, coming from the Society of Grand Masters, it didn't go that way. They knew exactly where he came from, where he got his training. Now, that's a story that Brother Sultanuddin has to share.
He has to share.
We're gonna get something on here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We definitely got to hear his story. And that kind of leads me into my next questions. I kind of want to shift gears with you a little bit, Jerry. Being Black coming up in the culture, can you kind of talk about the challenges that you had to overcome and kind of what did you take from it? Being a man of color, coming up in a different culture where you learning things,
Filipino martial arts,
and just trying to be accepted in an unfamiliar culture as well as Sultan. Can you kind of speak on that and just give us some insight on your experience?
Coming up, it's to be honest with you, you really don't recognize the color of your skin until you get into a higher grade in school. Through grammar school or through say the 6th grade or 5th grade, when I met Angel, or Johnny, Angel's son. Johnny was really light skinned. I have 5 brothers myself, so I was kind of in a sense protected. I had brothers. I was the baby of the family, and I had John, that was Angel's son, and I ran with John, and Johnny would take me everywhere, and he'd run across. He was running across my brothers, and my brothers knew it. So I kind of catered to me to where I didn't really fear anybody or anything coming up as a kid. But as the nationality wise, I know that we'd go down to the Filipino Center. Back then it was kind of a skid row, and the Pinoys there didn't say anything about any kind of color or racial thing or anything like that. You can go in there, you can eat. They feed you. We had a good time with that. I didn't really recognize anything like that as far as nationality until we got to basically, I think it was junior high school when we started getting shown videos of slavery and things like that. That's when it kind of clicked. But as far as coming up as a young person, there was no. I didn't really feel it as much as maybe some other people did in different areas. Stockton is a mixture of a lot of different nationalities. It's not like going to Oakland or some other place where you got mostly one nationality. Stockton is was always mixed with all different nationalities.
It's the melting pot.
I did run across where we got in trouble where it would just be me, but it would be me and Johnny, or Angel's son, Johnny. And we were I'd be on the handlebars of a bike or something, and he'd be riding downtown, and the guys would cuss him out because he's on the sidewalk. Maybe because I was on the handlebars, but it never came back that way. But we'd always come out ahead by the time we left. So, we didn't have any issues with that after a while.
But once it clicked, because I know you said once you got a little older in age and you clicked, and you kind of realized the differences, based off of color. How did that affect you and just your training and just everything as far as trying to learn the culture?
My training coming up, basically, like I said, training in the karate, I trained in the kung fu. I didn't understand what they were saying in the kung fu classes. I just would follow instructions. They were all Chinese or Japanese, and they accepted you as long as you were training. You didn't hear anything negative from that.
Yeah.
Karate was similar to the same thing. There was nothing strange about that. But when it came to training, say, going through school, I had more problems in high school, and I had the training, somewhat of a training background. I probably didn't have to fight that much. I do recall a few fights, being, get suspended type things. But other than that, I really didn't have to fight as much. And it might have been because at the time the schools were already pretty much segregated, where we had a mixture of people in all different schools.
Yeah. So Stockton, like Stockton. So you think of Stockton, California? It's like they say Richmond. It was pretty rough, So Stockton, Richmond, those type of cities. And you said y'all trained like tribal to defend from anybody outside. Did you have a lot of like neighboring cities to come in and try to take over, roust, or bully?
It would basically, when we were training for that, it would be anybody. It didn't matter what color they were that came into the class that wanted to bang.
Ass whipping. It's gonna be ass whipping if you come in wrong. That's right.
We were never looking at color. We were like, look, we're gonna let you get off on me in my own classroom. I know that much.
Yeah, I don't care if you green and blue.
Blue, yeah.
It's work.
Yeah. And that's good. It sounds like Stockton's a melting pot. A representation of a lot of different nationalities. And that's where it's at. There's a lot of Pacific Island nationalities.
Right. I know that there was times, if you went to a different side of town, that you might run into a couple issues over there, but it didn't have nothing to do with the training side of. I trained harder to defend myself against another nationality. That was never a point. The training side of it was more of a competition to myself, because you trained to that you weren't going to be basically touched. And so it didn't really wasn't based on any other person as far as a color of skin. It was just because it didn't matter who they were. If they was going to come and challenge you, you just have to deal with it. I wasn't a big, heavy set guy. I was tall and thin, so I knew my speed would be fine.
Yeah. That's what's up, man.
What about today? Are you still in Stockton as well today?
I'm still in Stockton. I still actually I'm still training. I still train people. I still work out. I just don't make the noise or get out there. The Angel's Disciples, that was a big push, and it was and I caused that, and I really did tell. I told Johnny when the last time I seen him, we pretty much I had to let him know what I was doing and what I actually caused by the school, because I took the full responsibility of creating that the friction, and he kind of acknowledged it. He knew what I was talking about. And it was mainly because
the friction.
Yeah.
Well, when I say friction, is that when Angel was in the hospital, and he was, pretty much ready to pass away, and I know that I was in the room with them, and I know Darren showed up to see Angel, and they wouldn't let him in the room. They kind of kept it a hush and just said, no, he can't come inside the room. But I knew the friction between kind of Darren and Vincent because just from knowing both sides of hearing both sides of the stories back and forth. So when that Mr. Lee offered me that school, I had already bumped heads with Vincent, and I knew that by having a school or creating any kind of friction, if Darren was involved with it, there was going to be the art will never die. The Serrada would be around forever, because I knew that Vincent alone wasn't going to do it. And if you cause any kind of a competition, usually that will last longer than it would be if there's no competition.
Right.
So Darren would have been the first person I called, because I knew there was already going to be enough friction right there to cause the school to last years and years behind that. I didn't know it was going to go way beyond that point, but it was a start that nobody really understood what was really going on, because we started this off. And so that was kind of why our training, the new students coming in when we had the school, was mainly to prove a point to all other schools that Angel style was going to be dominant out of everything.
Yeah, that's dope, man. I love the energy, man. Before you get up out of here, man, I like to ask everybody that comes on, what do you want your legacy to be? You know what I mean? When it's all said and done, we talk about just the culture and everything you learn from the late great Angel Cabales and everything you've added personally to the culture, man. What you want your legacy to be, and what you want people to take from you and what you contributed to the culture?
Well, first of all, I can't take all the credit on it. I can say what I want it to be, but at the same time, it's what the art wanted to be. And the only thing I can go by is what Angel wanted it to be, because Angel wanted to be known all over the world. And he wanted it to be to prove to everybody that his art was better than a lot of people were trying to make it like theirs were better. And you don't hear that too much, where somebody says my style is better than your style, because you can have, just like a boxer can box and be a professional and be the #1 and get knocked out. So it doesn't make that style bad. It just mainly means that he had a bad day. He just slipped up. He missed a hit. And Serrada, if you went to the weapon style, and I noticed it, that people fight with sticks, but when Angel was really talking about using a blade, and you whip a blade out and you say, come on, you could see how many people will back off. A lot of them will change their minds. And it's only because their training was probably with a stick, is probably not as strong, as not as weak, unless they're forced to go ahead and go blade. And there's a lot of people that won't do that. Like I said, I came up in the bad side of things with the sun. I wouldn't have no problem with doing that, whipping out a blade just to see. But at the same time, it would be because of what ran through my system, my bloodline was pretty radical. And so, and I'm older now, but at the same time, I still, you give me that opportunity to don't slip up somewhere down the line, and that's always been my same way in the book, to say, well, if you feel that you don't know what I'm doing, or you don't think I know what I'm doing, then you can always try me.
But don't let it twist it. Don't get it twisted.
Don't slip up a little bit, because you could get cut too.
I like it.
Guys, the energy of Angel's disciples, what we're trying to do is hold on to what the late Grandmaster Angel Cabales had shared with us, his views, his feelings, and that experience right there is what drove Angel's disciples to have that kind of push in his honor. No fear whatsoever. We'll take it to anybody, and that was back then. But I think in offering opportunity for all FMA, it's developed into a really, really beautiful opportunity for FMA. So, looking back on what me and Master Jerry Preciado started off, it was bad intentions. We'll say that. will say that. It was also proving a point to a dude that was making up history. And there's still a lot of guys out there trying to make up history. And that's why, we can kick back and watch and we smile about it. But, their day will come. Karma will catch them. You know what I'm saying? And we're just going to keep being us, doing the best that we can do on behalf of the late Grandmaster Angel Cabales. And that's pretty much where I'm at. But if anybody hates me out there, I'm open. Contact me. We'll get down. We'll get down. It's still low like that. It's still
Get down.
We ain't ducking no smoke.
No smoke.
A couple shows ago, I said, hey, is T-Bone still able to walk? Is he in a wheelchair yet?
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Oh, he is? Oh, okay. I'm going to fight him now.
Yeah.
We've been, how many tournaments did we throw with an opportunity to challenge?
It was a lot. We went to a lot of tournaments. We went to tournaments everywhere. We'd jump in the car, go down there, we'd come out, and you see some people would actually just kind of say, "Oh, I'm not fighting. You guys fighting? No, we're not fighting today." But like I said, now that it's a lot of time has passed. Years has passed. But I think a lot of the old timers now realize that there's more to it than banging each other. You can actually meet together. We and Darren went all the way down to San Diego, I think. We went there to see what was going to happen, what kind of fighting they were going to do. But there was another student from another school from Stockton, and we were backing him, even though he wasn't Serrada. But we were actually clapping for him. We had his back. If they would have jumped on him, most likely we would have probably helped him out because he was from Stockton. But, like I said, now it's, when you see it, and the only thing is that trying to get everybody to, you can't stop them from doing the training that they're out there trying to teach people. But maybe that open eyes to people that actually are out there and being told certain stories that aren't true. And the only way you're going to find out is go visit some other schools, go visit some other teachers, and see what they have to offer. And then if they don't believe what's being said, like I said, I have a lot of video footage, and I said before, I can hold this up and show you years and years of pictures of everybody training too, And if they say they weren't, if they say that I don't have video footage or pictures, just let me know.
Got the law. You got tournament footage and all that stuff, like
wow.
So you got some ass whipping.
And this goes back. I'm going to say something like this. This goes back. Look, that's Jumar right there, right?
Yeah. 2 years old. About 2 years old.
Who's that?
That's Angel's youngest son. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, when you watch volume 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's Angel's son and my son, Jess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
and
volume 1, 2, 3.
Hiding behind the chair, So, like I said, it goes way back. All these pictures that I have, and of other people training. There's more people training in there, and then, like I said, the video footage is. If there is a lot of video footage, I have never. Released the video footage because of all the controversy of everything going on. It's just kind of been like in a state keepings of, and I don't think I'd ever put it out because what was been accomplished has been accomplished. To be honest, there's pictures of Angel doing moves where nobody's just showing us moves because Angel would. During the class, and a lot of people don't know that, and we don't talk about it too much, is that we would have a little break, and Angel would give us history, give us a kind of a history class on where he's been, what led to this, what students was he would tell us the students not to trust, and everybody that attended those little breaks between class had a chance to hear Angel telling us stories. Some of that stuff was filmed. And so, like I said, when you start talking about students not coming back and that they think that we're talking bad about them, a lot of it came from Angel himself telling us during our little breaks we had, and it was amongst more than one person being there.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Look. One thing you can't run from and you can't deny: film and pictures. You know what I'm talking about? You can't deny it. You know what I'm saying? It's out there. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah, look at
it. Mark Wiley, Frank, yeah. So these guys, I said, I could go on and on with pictures of everybody. A lot of them don't even have the pictures. Yeah, so it just goes on. Like I said, there's a lot of it. Hopefully that maybe one day, if I'm long gone, maybe my thumb will turn around one day, slip up and go, look what I found, and all the videos we put out in the open.
And the video footage and everything. You do a nice catalog. Now in Stockton, do they have an Angel Cabales or a Serrada Escrima day in the Filipino community there? Is there something that they do?
I believe they put him in a museum, Angel, and his uniform photos are in a museum here. And I'm glad that exists, but I strongly believe the legacy and honor of the late Grandmaster Angel Cabales and where it has gone today, I think he'd be very proud. I really do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that footage that you got, man, you need to turn it into a little documentary, man.
It is a lot. If I did that, it would be hours and hours of video footage, not just one videotape. There's probably 15 videotapes of even his last seminar. And I did make copies of some of those tapes and to give some. I think Darren had maybe a couple, and there's some scattered here and there that they also have copies of that stuff. But like I said, some of it probably will never surface because it's beyond that point already to go back 30 years ago to show anybody training or, maybe the demonstrations we did would be worth seeing. But you compare 30 years ago, what you did then to 30 years now, it's a big difference.
But, something you notice, bro, so many people are trying to live off the past of that time to elevate themselves. It's funny. It's funny. Well, what have you created in 30 years? That's another story. So I think that a lot of guys are out there struggling to live off the past, to live off of old memories. They're so busy trying to live off of old memories and photos that they have not done nothing current. And I think that's one of the biggest problems that we're faced with today in how people write about the late Grandmaster Angel Cabales. It's a time period that when you hear people talk and then you kind of like talk amongst us, hey man, did that happen? No, it didn't happen. Okay.
Well,
you
see this picture right here, Darren?
Oh yeah, the picnic. That's a 25-year picnic. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think more than that happened during that picnic, but I'm not going to say. Okay. That's when Fufu got smacked. Okay. Yeah.
Fufu.
Fufu.
You said who got smacked?
Fufu.
What's his name? What's his real name?
Fufu.
It's Fufu. Let the record
Hey, if
state.
you want to add Ladufu to the end, you can add it. Fufu Ladufu. Okay.
Oh man, I love it, man. Master Jerry, man, we want to thank you for coming through, giving us your energy, man. We're gonna have to spin a block, man, because it sounds like we got some more layers to peel black, man. So we're gonna bring you back on the show, man, and dig a lot more deeper into the whole culture, man, because we love your energy, we love your story, man.
You bring pictures too.
And I could, it's funny, look at some of these pictures, and I was looking at it and I was thinking, and not to say anything negative or not like this, but I'm looking at a picture of Carlito, a picture of him when he was just on crutches. He's standing on crutches, one crutch, taking a picture.
Yeah, that's the Wiley photo shoot, bro. That's the Wiley photo shoot.
Yeah. So there's so many. Like I said, there's so many in there. That I said I know how to make these pictures. I can retake these pictures without even taking them off the car to make them look like they just been taken today, and then maybe did that. But I didn't want to do.
Gabriella trained with y'all too for a while, right?
Yeah,
Gabriella Casillas, yeah.
Yes, and well, it was. And I'm gonna say something. This was actually Vincent came to the class. I think I think we were at his house, at Angel's house. I think he popped up, came up right here. That was then. I can't remember where that was at. I wouldn't even know where that was at. But she came to Angel's house. We were training at Angel's house. Corselia. She came there and we were doing. I think our Angel called us over to train because she came in, and I can't remember who else was there. Darren was there. I think there was a few other people who were training, and we were sitting in Angel's front room, and she was going to show Darren a move. And when you start trying to show somebody a move, that's when you know that you have to be on your best of everything, because they're going to try to make you look bad. So when somebody says, "Let me show you something," you knew right there that it's time. That the moves are going to change right now. It's time to tighten up a little bit and kind of square off the right way. So because you don't want to get showed something, because that means that they're going to try to hit you, or they're going to try to get over on you.
Absolutely.
And she tried a couple things real quick, and Darren caught her at the same time, and she sat down quietly and said, she says, "Man," she says, "Man, I never dealt with anything like that before, And when we were over there elbowing each other, giggling and stuff, But her show me something didn't really work when she went to go do it. And
she got shown something.
She got shown something.
If it would have been somebody else, she might have got over on him, But I think when Darren heard that, "Let me show you something," he was kind of ready for her, And I said
Darren knew what time it was.
We did the commercial and some pictures of us doing the video footage. I think we were doing that commercial for Angel. Angel would call us and just tell us to come and do something, and we would just show up. If it was something, if he wanted to do a demonstration somewhere, he'd call up and say, just come, and we'd get there. We already knew what the assignment was going to be when you got there. Only thing he would tell us, either go fast or go slow, because he didn't want them. If he seen video cameras going, he'd tell you go fast enough to where it wouldn't catch in the video camera. Yeah. And they couldn't slow them down fast enough because they couldn't see the moves. And so everybody was able to control their speeds and make it look good for him from all the demonstrations we did from the Filipino Center. We did them in Oak Park. We did them in, I think, San Francisco, the square over there or something. School, Berkeley. Everywhere. He'd just say, "Come on." And when Angel would walk in the room, you're talking about Angel making jokes. He would walk in there and he'd say, "Come right here, stand right here." And he'd go, "Click, click, 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 click." He says, see, they're taking my picture. Click, click, click. He would laugh about it. So.
And look like you got so many memories, man. And look, we're going to have to bring you back, man, so we can see all of them, maybe get some footage of the videos. To play to our audience, man, because the more we get in tune with the culture, man, the better. You know what I mean? Because you got to know about it.
Some of the old masters, I don't know if I can get that clear.
Yeah, Coalition Tournament, yeah.
Yeah.
They Grandmasters, Leah Jerome, and Gilbertino in that one.
Man, look at that. You know what I mean?
So much stuff.
So much, man. So much stuff.
A lot of history.
Lot of history, man. And we want to thank you for coming through, sharing it with us, man. We really do, man. Is it anything you want to leave our audience with before we let you get on up out of here, brother?
It is tonight.
What was that again?
Any parting words for the night?
No, I'm just happy that you guys are, that you're reaching out, or the studio is reaching out to past master. I say past master, to grandmasters and masters of the art. I didn't try to become a grandmaster. I have different thoughts on it at the same time, but only because if you carry the art for so many years, I think then yes, you should be a grandmaster. But if you're just overnight and you're a master, and that's all you did, then that's all you are. You can't appoint yourself as grandmaster. But now if you don't appoint yourself, your students and your team will appoint you to become grandmaster. That's how I look at it as a grandmaster. Darren stepped up and he kept this art going for whatever amount of years, long time, and he would be recognized as a grandmaster. Some of these guys that I train with are seen training and stuff, and I'm like, wow, they're grandmasters. I don't buy it. I feel that a grandmaster can't be really hit. To me, that's just the way I came up. Is that I look at Angel being a grandmaster, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try. Can I try to hit him? And see how he reacts to it. And that's kind of how I look at it. And we're going back at a younger, not saying that when a person has to get old first so you can hit him and then you can prove a point to yourself. But as a person in their prime, being where they were and in their skills, you didn't do it then. So in a sense, don't try to do it when they get older, 70 years old. And they say, I beat that grandmaster up and he's 70 years old.
Right.
Because I feel then is when the grandmaster says, okay, there's my student right there. Go ahead and fight my student, see where you're at. So I don't agree on the side of certain people that did appoint themselves as grandmaster, and until they can show me or say who appointed them, then go from there. So like I said, it's good that you guys are covering some of the history, looking back as the legacy has started from scratch to now. It's changed so much more, and it's more respectful compared to what it was when I came through. So like I said, it's good that you're doing something now and it's recognized. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, man, brother. We appreciate it, and we're gonna continue the legacy going. Shouts out to T-Bone Legacy 9 coming up. You know what I mean? And we're gonna keep that going. Come on, man.
Speaking up quick, And then again, we got to talk old talk. It kind of I push your mindset back 30 years ago. 30 years ago, we was young men. There's been a lot of growth since then. But that doesn't mean that there's guys out there that don't piss you off. You know what I mean? Making up histories and everything else. And I think that's the saddest thing that a lot of us, that still talk today. And we witness people making up history that is false. And I think that's some of the saddest thing going on today is trying to rewrite history to benefit their own egos and their own stature. Come on, let's be real. Let's be real.
Yeah. If I know there's something going on, I guess in Vegas, if I'm in the area or something, I might swing by and say, hey, and have lunch.
Bye, brother. Take care of you.
Legacy.
We will take care of you.
Can I bring my sticks?
Yeah.
Not to linger on, but me and Darren went to a place. It was a Piña Salada, I think it was, right? Darren went there. And they seen us come in and they said, "Oh, you guys have to leave your weapons outside."
Wow.
we don't need them, but we'll go ahead and put them
outside. Wow.
A long time ago.
Before I need them up.
I didn't. You know what, bro? I think your youngest son, Christopher, was born that week too. Man. I remember.
Yeah. But it was so funny, man. We had to go put the weapons away and go back inside again. It's like, man, what the heck? Okay, let's do it then.
Do it.
Oh, man, I love it.
And the problem too, they had all their weapons inside. We didn't have none.
They want falls out. Only we have the weapons.
Right.
Oh man! Well, look, we thank you guys for coming through. We definitely gonna spin a block. You already know the vibes. Myself, Pstock, T-Bone, Grandmaster Jerry. Man, we appreciate y'all coming through. Man, time is something we can't get back, so we appreciate y'all giving us some of y'all. Okay.
All righty.
Brother. Audi 19. Big shout out, brother. Big shout out.
Peace. Thanks, Jerry.
Okay. All right.
We'll talk soon, brother. We'll talk soon.
You already know.
Right on.
And me and Pstock will be right back after these commercial breaks.
Okay. Thank you, brothers. Thank you.
Okay.
You already know the vibes. We are back. Pete, man, I'm speechless, brother. You know what I mean? That kind of is what you call a little straightening. You know what I'm saying?
A little straightening.
Get some straightening out here in these streets. You know what I'm talking about?
A little straightening.
I love the energy, man, when you come through with your facts, your receipts. You know what I'm talking about? Your film, your footage, and you got knowledgeable people who was there and was recording it and know exactly what's going on with the culture, because we want to give it to you in 3D, in the raw. Yeah. We want you to know exclusively what happened and how it transpired, so the culture can elevate. And this show tonight represented that in such an amazing fashion. It just got me loving the culture even more, and we're going to continue to dive into it.
Yeah, we are, and Master Jerry will be back, as well as T-Bone. So we're going to keep this thing going with the FMA and the Grandmasters and the Masters coming through, hollering. You know, that's what we do, and we're addressing the culture on it. And, you know, we let you know that, you know, it's going down in places. You just don't, you might not know, you might not see it, but stuff is happening. It's going down, for real.
Yeah. And it's going down right here. So, you know what I mean? If you have any questions for me or Pstock or T-Bone, any want to get you some training or want to learn some techniques, we talk about the healers, we want to know the facts, anything that you personally want to know, let us know, get in tune, like, comment, subscribe, join the culture gang, hit that little bell on the side. It's right there.
Button,
click that bell on the side. So
comments.
Anytime we drop any kind of content, you'll be the first one to get it, right, Pete?
Yeah, all day long. And like you said, the top off of Big Wall said, September 3rd, come to Vegas, Circus, Legacy 9. There's going to be 17, 18 Grandmasters there. So class is open. Get your spot now.
Yeah. Tap in, man, because we already got our tickets, so make sure you get yours. You know what I mean?
That's right.
So until next week, we're going to be back with the same type of vibe, same type of energy, giving you news you can use, interviewing people, some you know, some you need to know. You know what I'm saying? So it's your boy Big Wall.
It's your man Pstock.
And this is Address the Culture. And like I always say, your culture makes you who you are, so make sure they respect it. We're going to catch you on the next episode. We up out of here.
Hi, I'm Ron Van Cleef. This is my book, The Hanged Man. I was lynched by the Ku Klux Klan in 1963 in Kingston, North Carolina. This is my story.
Grandmaster Ron Van Cleef in the house. Welcome to Address the Culture, sir. I mean, it's an honor to privilege one of your teachers, Master Moses Powell.
My first teacher.
Have you met Stephen Muhammad?
Oh, Steve Muhammad beat me one time. He beat me at the International Championship in Long Beach, California, at Parker's Tournament.
Wow.
But he and I went to Panama together maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I said, do you remember when you beat me at the International? He said, no, I don't remember. Why would you remember? He beat like 8 guys that guy in a row.
He was beating guys. Wow.
What a wonderful man. And even Bruce told me, he's the fastest hands he's ever seen. Bruce started training me in Jeet Kune Do and Wing Chun. He's the one that introduced me to Leon Tang and Seto Kwar and all these great Wing Chun masters, you know. And so Wing Chun really helped me in my 60 years of competition. It was all sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Yeah.
You know, I hung out with Mick Jagger for a lot of years. Richie Havens was another one of my students who excelled. He was such a great musician and singer. So I worked for James Brown and Wilson Pickett. I've been on the road with those guys.
Wow, yeah.
Cool.
So you're exposed to the women,
Good.
drugs, parties.
Oh my goodness.
Hi, this is Michael J. White, and I am honored to be inducted into the Ultimate Warrior Hall of Fame by two such legends as Grandmaster Al DeCascos and Grandmaster Ron Van Cleef.
Dressing the culture, I'm adjusting the culture, we gon' talk about it. Come adjust the culture, we gon' talk about it. Come adjust the culture, we gon' talk about it. Come adjust